Hey everybody, Johnny Disc Golf back with another interview, and this time I am joined by my good friend and yours, Mr. Matty O. How we doing, buddy?
Doing good, Corey. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, man. It is a beautifully sunny day here in San Francisco, and I'm talking with my good buddy, dude. It's hard to be better than that. Um, how's the off season though? It's been for me personally, it's been a long one. I haven't been on tour for the last year, so it's felt like kind of an extended one. But how are you? You're in Alabama, right?
Alabama. I've moved one city over. I am transferred from Creola to Satsuma, Alabama
Oh,
now. Moving a little closer to the city, but a little back to it. But I bought me a new house. Finally, it's been awesome, and man, just excited for the change, and just kind of turned into like a little housewife here because my girlfriend works 6 days a week. So, but excited for the season, excited for the change, and everything's going pretty well.
dude. First of all, incredible! Congratulations! It's a huge step in everyone's life. Like, really stoked for you. But last time I talked to you, you had gotten a new car. Big shouts to Westside treating you well and allowing you to get that sort of thing. This off season, you bought a house. Like, talk to me about the process. How does it feel? Do you feel like you made it a little bit?
Honestly, it's been really big as like a step in my life, like because I started thinking about like what I own, and I own nothing but my car. And maybe the second most expensive thing I own is that guitar I won from Music City Open, and that was my trophy. So I'm starting to break down my things I own, and I'm like, man, I really don't own much of nothing.
Hmm.
So finally getting a house that is, is an amazing step, especially for the girlfriend and
Hmm.
and the boys, and just everything, and just not having to be like living in basically a storage unit. I got space and
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff. I got a big yard too, so that's awesome. And I don't know, it's been a lot of stress, but a lot of like happiness coming with it too.
Yeah, I bet, man. And every day you get a little more settled in. It feels a little bit more like home. I've moved plenty of times, in my life, so I understand that whole flow. Um, uh, Talk to me though. You said you moved one town over. Does that mean when people are announcing you at pro tour events or majors, it won't be from Creola, Alabama anymore?
Not Creole, Alabama. I'm gonna kind of miss it, man, because I always felt like when they said Creola, everybody's minds kind of just went wild of like what it was
Mm-hmm.
like, because Creola just has a like whoa, especially the
Yep.
Creole, Alabama. So Satsuma's a little bit more homey for sure. It doesn't have the quite the thought, I would say, on the whoa, Creola, what the heck is that?
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's awesome. Nice little classy town. Nice little classy town.
Good. You deserve it too, Maddie. So I want to get into the disc golf. I want to dive into last season, going into this season. But before we get to that, we need to address the elephant in the room, Matthew. And that elephant's name is Big Al.
Big Al,
Okay.
baby.
So 9-4 last year. Crimson Tide. Yeah, exactly. Crimson Tide, the worst record they've had since 2007, though.
hmm
First year without Nick Saban. Talk me through the program. Where are we at? Where are we headed? How's it going?
I mean, definitely. I really like Kalen DeBur. I mean, I think the last time we've had that record was the first year that Saban was there.
Mhm.
He kind of had an unfair thing. We were still under the penalty of getting set up by Tennessee and all that. Why I hate Tennessee so much. So that was all still in the thing. But man, honestly, I think I gave it a B minus total because I mean we lost a lot of play. It was new,
Mhm.
and I think we had it going on until the Oklahoma game. I mean, we were all ecstatic. We just kind of blew out LSU. We kind of knew it was going to happen though because they couldn't get the quarterback run. They couldn't stop it. But when we went to the Oklahoma game, it kind of drove me nuts because when I was in Vermont, I watched the whole Tennessee Oklahoma game with Prez, I believe, and
Mhm.
Tennessee beat them the whole game at Oklahoma running the ball. So I feel like we kind of had the blueprints for the game, and we didn't run the ball, and it kind of was a big loss. It was the second to last week of the season.
Mhm.
It devoured us, and then the playoff committee, kind of teased us as well, because Clemson beat TCU or SMU. But then they gave Clemson the 12 seed, so it kind of looked like they were going to give Bama the 11 seed, and let us in. They kind of drawed it out, and then they threw SMU right in there, which I kind of didn't think made sense. But they got us pretty good there, and then we just got absolutely blown out by Michigan. But we have a really good recruiting year.
Mm-hmm.
I think we got the second, maybe first highest recruiting class. We got Ryan Williams, wide receiver from Mobile. He's he's pretty the truth. Besides that, Jeremiah Smith, that guy's pretty dang
That
good
guy's
too.
freaky. Yeah.
That guy's freaky good. I think I even heard that they had the draft right now. He would be the number 1 overall pick.
Really? If he committed to the draft, dang,
Yes,
dude.
he's
I mean,
pretty
I
deep.
believe it. It's a light class this year.
But I know I kind of put that all real quick, but I think it was kind of what I expected. I mean, Milroe was
Okay.
about as consistent as my putting game in the wind, man, this year. I mean, I swear. So, you know,
Well, okay, it's good.
maybe the most quarterback with the most up and down stock, almost ever, in my opinion, from how he's just kind of gone from just to now. I mean, his stock's still decent, but I mean, come on, he's just been going the roller
Yeah,
coaster.
up and down, all over the. He's like a meme coin in itself. Well, it sounds like there's some positives to take out of it. I didn't even realize that 2007 was that first year with Nick Saban, so we got a lot of firsts. I know you're looking forward to Alabama rebounding. I'll say it was just a beautiful break from having the Crimson Tide shoved down my throat. But last thing, how'd you like the playoff system with all the teams? What was your take on it this year?
Oh man, it was awesome. I mean, the hype of every game and just having the extra games was amazing. I watched every one. I mean,
Yep.
so it was pretty. I mean, there was a lot of blowouts in the first series that kind of made the first little one
Yeah,
kind of a
first
little
weekend.
bit
Yeah.
but towards the end it got really good there, and I just love the formula. It keeps everybody in it so long during the regular season and makes. And I think everybody kind of got the formula of how many games you can kind of spare this year. Like if you're in the
Mm-hmm.
SEC now, you kind of know you can spare 2. You
Yep.
can't spare 3. That's kind of so everybody kind of has a remote of kind of what's going on, I believe, which is really tricky to kind of rate these, as we can tell with the whole 8th through 12th seed. They were having the
Yeah.
whole thing was kind of nutsy, but it kind of gave a little bit of a what you got to do now.
So we've got the college football primer out of the way. I'd like to move on to disc golf, though. The reason for the season. We're going to talk about 2025. I got a few questions about that, but let's backtrack to 2024. How'd you feel like the season went for you? You know, there was highlights, there was a couple of lowlights, but just holistically, how'd it go?
I would say kind of similar to the Crimson Tide. I would give it probably a B minus. Honestly, truly, kind of feel like I had a good momentum there, especially during the Midwest stretch there, kind of in the grind part of the season because you come off the West Coast. That's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like a make or break for a lot of the lower level because it's so pricey and it puts a lot of pressure after that part of the stretch, I believe.
Yeah.
But did really well there. I think I got third at Preserve, maybe fourth, and then second at Des Moines. Had a great time in Norway. Felt like right there at the end of. I feel like right when I got to Estonia, when I was staying with Casey, my knee started bugging me a lot. I even kind of quit a couple practice rounds grinding it.
Mm-hmm.
Then that kind of became a problem there for almost until I got to Vermont, and it was still nagging me a little bit then, but I was able to find ways to kind of maneuver it by just snapping the disc kind of certain ways to kind of alter the form to kind of get the pressure off the knee. But it's been doing really good right now, though, because it took about a month and a half off after the season, which was much needed because I was on a little bit of a burnout level, just traveling so much for 3.5 years like I have been, and really knowing what I needed to do off the course to kind of get my on the course kind of relaxed because kind of had a lot of stuff building up like the house and all that I really needed to take care of off the course to make my on the course enjoyable finally a little bit more.
Yeah.
And feel like I've taken care of that. But it was a journey all last year too. I traveled, I think, widely more than I ever have spacely because I drove to the West Coast. That kind of took a lot out of me
Yeah.
for a second. I mean, that drive home, I think I broke down in tears and what's that oil town? Odessa. I forget what that town's called in freaking Texas, but I broke down there. I was trying to make it to an A tier in Huntsville.
Ugh.
But The one bad part of the season though was dropping out of Worlds. It was
Yeah.
pretty depressing. I did not want to drop out at all. Just having to do that, going home kind of the day of the last day of the tournament, watching it on the way home. Actually, I watched Isaac make the last putt in his hometown, stuck in traffic in Lawrenceville, Georgia. I felt that was kind
Hey,
of
that's cool.
ironic,
That's
and
cool.
so yeah, and it was like it was just surreal though, kind of just knowing it was very depressing, just being like, man, got to start taking a little better care of myself. Not that that was the reason why my knee hurt, but just knowing that I was getting a little, because I was like my first real injury.
Yeah.
Having to do it at Worlds was just like the worst. And then, but I felt like that was my low light, and then kind of kept fighting through the season, just kind of basically getting about like 15th to 20th. I felt like the rest of the season there,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of just coasted through B minusy, you know.
Well, B minusy, self graded a B minus. You know, you mentioned the injury, the knee injury. You dropped out of Worlds. By the time you got to the East Coast, though, for me, that's when I think of like the standout moment, the moment I think of for you for last year, which is that ace at Maple Hill. Talk to me about that moment. Is that like a piece of video you're going to hold on to for the rest of your life? Like, what was that hole like? It was a great hole to ace.
It was pretty what do they call it? Spur of the moment. I think it was raining. The rain just stopped. I kind of
Mm-hmm.
like embarrassed myself on the tee that nobody knows. I had this like bottle of baby powder, and it was like closed shut. So I was like, just kind of like, I definitely took over a minute. Kind of. So that was one of the reasons I was like, when I aced it, I was just kind of like, and then too, the reason is I aced it, but the night before, I remember kind of complaining like with the boys about how there's no ace pot on tour.
Oh,
So then I aced it, which I did get $500 from this
yeah.
awesome
There was
plumbing
one on that
company.
hole. Yeah.
Ironically, just the one hole almost all tour that had an ace pot kind of in a way. So it was awesome. But I remember that was kind of like the first emotion that went through my head.
Yeah.
And the second emotion was I took at least 2 minutes on the tee box and I just aced, so I felt kind of guilty. So it was all kind of stuff. And I aced hole 14, so it was all surreal
Yeah.
and all kinds of things too. That there was a lot going on there.
Well, what a moment like that, you know, if I'm thinking of like your average 925 rated player locally, like that is a moment that you can have for the rest of your life. You know, obviously you'll take the win the year before, right?
Mhm.
That's a much bigger moment and that sort of thing. But it had me thinking, what place would you trade for that ace? Like if you could have said like 8th place or you get that ace and finish 17th or 20th or 25th, like 3rd place, where's that line for you?
Hmm. That's a good question. Oh, I mean, I have to take the win first because the
Yeah.
ace is almost kind of a lucky shot.
Yeah.
Even though you can ask Casey and I think Donnie was in my group that I missed it this short the day before in
Wow.
practice with the same disc. I aced with the same disc I missed just short, and I've always thrown that hole like poo. I ain't gonna lie, I always go left, and there's something about it that I've never really been that great at that hole. So
Yeah.
it definitely was like because I never can get it wide. There's something about not trusting the wideness there, even though there's
Yep.
plenty of room. But I guess I would have to just say like, mm, yeah, the ace. Even though it did get me on Sports Center for the first time, that's like a big bucket list moment. I think number
That's
two.
what I mean.
I wish I
Yeah.
would have got to see it when I think that would have made it better. And I always watch Sports Center. I don't know why I didn't get to see it that
So
morning.
one you didn't watch?
I don't know. Maybe I didn't shoot that good. I had to go play that morning, and I
Yeah,
didn't get
yeah.
to watch it because I think
Uh-huh.
we were in playoffs, so tee offs do kind of end up a little earlier. I don't know. There was a
Mhm.
reason, but maybe I forgot that I didn't expect it. All kinds of
Yeah.
things, But it's a
Um
big, probably second biggest moment in my life. One of them, or third biggest moment in my disc golf life, probably.
wow. What's the first is the win?
I would say the win's number one, and I say the
What's number
second
2?
one would be the like '05 Worlds
Yeah.
with the $500 skins hole. That was kind
Mhm.
of like a big thing, kind of back in the day.
Yeah, well, you're
And
15, man.
yeah, or 17. I was
Oh,
17,
17. 17. Yeah.
but yeah, but that was kind of, and then that one. Then I'll put the KC Worlds, the whole
Yeah.
third place, probably number four, and five
Um
is. just still making it. Probably winning B tiers just to hang on. Probably some of
Yep.
them tournaments meant more to me. Like a good added money B tier that I knew I had to win to kind of just keep going. I've
Mm-hmm.
had about 10 of those that are probably tied for fifth,
Wow. Well, you've had an amazing career, Matty, and you got me thinking about that '05 Worlds run that you went on with the Yankees jersey, and you're wearing an homage, I would say, to that moment, probably.
I am.
So,
Yeah.
talk about the jersey. Talk about the relationship with Westside. Maybe like how are they? Looks like they're making custom runs for you. Where did this come from?
Well, this is a OTB slash I
Oh,
think a
excuse me.
OTB Greg curation.
Okay.
So I had this idea of trying to kind of come up with a Yankees pinstripe collared shirt with the whole kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of, there was just something a little that just needed to be different. So they kind of altered it, and Greg kind of collaborated with me on just the idea of coming up with the kind of like I believe a 20th year anniversary kind of a memorabilia. It even comes with a little bit of memorabilia when you buy one kind of thing here,
Ooh,
where it
I
tells you
like
the official.
that.
Yep. So it's kind of a throwback, and I always think pinstripes are slick too, So I love
Yep.
the pinstripes and the whole. It's got the logo. It's got the
Well,
'05. Let me try to make this work. I'm sorry.
get it in the frame. Get it in frame.
There
Oh,
we go.
I like that. I did not realize it had the Orum on the back.
And you can get this jersey still available at OTB Disc right now.
Thank you so much. I was just gonna mention head to OTB, good friends of ours, West Coast representatives in the disc
Awesome.
sales market. So always support OTB.
Only the
Um,
best.
very true. Moving into 2025, how's the game feeling? You just said that you took a month and a half off. Have you been playing more recently? How's the game feeling? How's the arm? How's the knee? How we doing?
Knee's doing great. I took a month and a half off, and then I've been kind of training for since about December 15th until about 3 days ago. I've been working out almost every day except for four of them. So just trying to get that longevity, because I know I kind of looked at my schedule, and I know that I might be playing all year full round this year and
Mm,
just keep going. And I'm kind of down to, I feel like 3 years of like pushing it. And I really want to give that 3 years my all. So I kind of realized maybe it's a little more put myself into shape more than just keep
yep.
playing disc golf to get the longevity.
Yep.
But you're definitely going to need a bottle of WD-40 when you watch me, because when I throw, there's going to be rust that flies off everywhere, I promise, though. But I mean, for real. But, playing for so long, I kind of can just adapt quick. Putting's the main one that I probably might be a
Yep.
little like kind of inside, a little anxiety about, because I've thrown some putts the last few weeks. I'm like, oh man. But because mainly I think because of the weights and the working out too, kind of is a little adjustment
Yeah.
for me, being
Yep.
so much arm and stuff too. But just making them. I always feel like a putting can always come and go by just making a few in the tournament, just and
Yeah.
kind of riding that momentum more than off the course, putting so much work into it. For me, most of the times.
No, I mean it's I hang out with you and James Proctor a lot. You guys have a similar, I think, theory on that sort of thing. It's inside of you. The
Mm-hmm.
muscle memory is there, but it's that confidence. You make a couple in the round, you start rolling, you start clicking, and you could have not putted for 6 months, and you could look like the best putter on the planet Earth.
Absolutely,
So
and I'm a big
I
first putt make guy in the round. Like if I make that first one, I'm like really big on that one too. I'm a
yep,
big first putt guy too. That's big momentum in my. And then disc golf's such a momentum game now. Like everybody's so good. These young guys have gotten so good, and they've gotten to where I can tell they've gotten smarter. I think that's one of the bigger things I've noticed from them too, besides them getting just better at disc golf, is their mental game and being able to know when to go for it and lay up has gotten a lot better, I would
hmm
say. So just having to ride the momentum the whole tournament is so crucial. Like especially a 3 round tournament, in those 3 round tournaments, it's only going to probably come down to at the most 3 or 4 strokes. I
yep,
mean, that's a huge win if you win with that. So it's going to be down to the wire all the way around. I mean, even 8th to 16th place. I mean, that could be 1 or 2 strokes.
yeah,
In the theory things,
literally
which is a big little drop there in just points, money.
the whole deal.
Having a
Yeah.
good tournament, 8th to 16th is kind of going from that B plus to almost like C minus range, depending on how those can work. So,
Yep.
you know.
So going into the season, I'm looking through the sponsorships. I'm looking through kind of the team rosters, manufacturers, all that good stuff. When you go to Westside's page, uh, if you look at the top, like the touring pros that they have sponsored, it's essentially you and Heidi Liney. That's essentially it. How does it
Jared Stoll.
feel? Jared Stoll. Okay, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
People who might end up on coverage outside of hole 17 at Waco on the Eagle, which is insane, which Jared does every year. But like essentially of the tippity top, 10 whatever, 20s on the MPO side, 930 on the FPO. It's you and Heidi essentially. Is that do you feel that how is the relationship between you and Westside? Clearly they're committed to you.
Mm-hmm.
So has that something that you feel? Have they talked to you about not having a bunch of other sponsored players? How does that impact you day to day at all?
I feel like this is a little tricksy question because there's been a lot going on inside the company, too, with the
Yep.
owners. I believe we just got our original owner back, Oscar, back.
Oh, that's
So
great.
he's now a part of the West Side thing, which is awesome because it kind of really get the pride back into West Side. But it's kind of tricky because I think West Side was bought by DD during COVID, so DD
Yeah.
took it over. But I believe the first year and a half I was on the team, that the only discs were made were signature series because I just think that it was just a process of kind of getting back to making
Yep.
them. So the only disc that you were able to buy was at that point was a me or I think a Erica Stinchcomb at that time disc, basically from Westside.
Hmm.
So then I think it was about the end of last year they started being able to pump them out more, which it finally kind of started being able to promote them. And then last year they did pretty good at pumping them out. But we just got our website finally on the off
Yep.
season, which is a huge step in my opinion because now we can actually have a website for people to go shop on, see, and just build the product better. But I think
Yeah.
Heine Liney was a great sign. I think she's the most underrated woman out there. So I
I
think that's
agree.
a huge pickup. And I think it's a big year for Westside too because, a lot of this Europe stretch with the two majors, the World Championships being over there, and like kind of, I know it's the trilogy question, but the House of Disc is kind of more the
Yeah.
thing now. Even though we're not allowed to throw the Castoplast or the Discmania, but still the House of Disc is kind of the
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 bigger
thing
holding
now.
company.
But
Yeah.
and now with it all being in Europe, and that I think that's a big. It's going to be big for us this year. With all
Yeah.
those tournaments going on, and almost all those being a House of Disc tournament, and in their environment, it's going to be awesome, and I'm excited for it.
No, completely. How has the House of Discs purchase like and I can feel like I can hear Thor in the background panting.
That's him. He's
Um
he's feeling my heartbeat, I guess. I'm just kidding.
um how has that has the House of Disc purchase, there you hear online there's a lot of talk positive, negative, indifferent about venture capitalists coming in, the whole deal, right? There's a lot of chatter about that. But I know personally for you, you've been treated very well. Just knowing you, you don't have many complaints at all about the situation. So, how has working with a new ownership structure or anything like that, has it changed anything for you? Has it been, how's that transition been?
Uh, I think last year was a little bit of a transition. We had some team manager changes, so that was
Hmm.
kind of a big little kind of change right there for a second. And but everything's been going good. They're really committed to me, which is awesome. And I mean, it's just been really, it's been kind of a little change of what was going on there. But
Yeah.
they're 100% pushing West Side this year and making it a little more priority. So you'll be able to get a lot more West Side
Well, that's great.
this year, available in all kinds of more exotic stuff, I would say, which is awesome.
Ooh.
And just I think we're just kind of rebuilding to kind of build. We're just kind of still on that start from where we went from 2020 being rebought to just kind of slowly
Yep.
rebuilding. Gonna
Yeah,
keep
getting your
doing it.
legs under you. Yeah.
Yep. And this year in Europe, I think it's going to be big. Just like I said, with all those tournaments, and I feel like that's going to be the stretch of the year, and it's kind of the stretch
Yep.
I'm looking forward to most. I'm still kind of planning on, but I feel like it's going to not be so much of more of a vacation this year for a lot, but really go out there, grind, and try to do the damn thing for each
Yeah.
and one of us.
Yep. Put it down out there for sure. Yeah, Europe feels a lot more real, a lot more mandatory this year, a lot more like maybe a slow shift towards a large European representation throughout each season. Um, anything that you are well, let's how about this? We're getting into the All-Star event. It's about to come up. We're recording
Mm-hmm.
this the week before All-Stars. I mean, clearly you weren't that locked in as you just found out All-Stars was the day before the event.
Yeah, a
Talk
couple
about
weeks ago.
talk about changing it to a one-day event, and how do you feel about that? Yay or nay? Is it enough? Is it too little? How do you feel?
Uh, it could go both ways because I think some players feel like they're just kind of have to go, and some players really want to go because they are
Yeah.
so stoked and it's All Stars, and we never been a part of it. I remember each year I've always been stoked to go because I always think it's the last year I'm going to be on there, so I treat it like it. And as I'll say again this year, I'm like I'll treat it like it's my last one, and I always
Yep.
enjoy playing it. Even though I was probably I kind of blew it for my team last year, so All Stars was a little bitter, but that means it meant something. But
Yeah.
it's okay. I mean, I'm glad they're still having it. I know that there's been some discussions about what's going on in the Pro Tour, but I feel like they're still giving it their best, and they've had I believe, maybe I shouldn't say that, but something else going on this later this year with some All Star action. I don't,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Yeah. I actually,
different.
yeah, I was gonna. So before you don't say anything, the next question was gonna be: they have announced that they're going to be doing an All-Star event at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So essentially, there's going to be two separate All Star events this year. One referencing the play from last year, and at the end of the year, it's almost like a banquet, like a gala style event, so that they can do their official awards and all sorts of stuff like that.
I like
How
that.
does how do you feel? Would you like that better at the end of the year?
I think so a little bit too, honestly. Kind of like a little ending. Maybe give us a little bit more time to bond at the end of the season. Do some other stuff that you really maybe can't do at the beginning of the season because so people are worried about maybe getting hurt or stuff like that or
Yep.
something. Kind of make it a little more fun. But kind of like the Pro Bowl, I guess you would say a little bit more.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah. I'm like truth be told, I'm a little bit 50-50 on it. Everybody's exhausted at the end of the year. Everybody just wants to get home. So the idea of extending it another week or two afterwards, unless you're gonna like get home, fly everybody back out,
Mm-hmm.
you know, there's that. Like I'm thinking staff. Like I just know the staff are gassed at the end of the year. So
Mm-hmm.
like having to stay another couple weeks, that is what it is. On the
And
media
sponsor
side, it
changes,
also
a lot of
means
people, you don't get the
yeah,
sponsor thrill
exactly.
change. That's always like kind of like the biggest hype, I believe, of some of the All Stars are people with their new bags and stuff that you hear about and
Exactly.
on the rumor mill, and it gets official, and then they play the All Stars, and people are stoked to see how they are.
Yep.
So,
And you don't necessarily get the media, just speaking for myself, we would do media days and I want the people in their new sponsorship clothes, right? You can't really
mm-hmm.
do a media day knowing a few of those players are going to change. Anyway, that's logistics stuff. Um, it's good to hear that you are into the idea though. I think at the end of the year too, it'll allow a little bit more time to breathe, spread the event out a little bit, treat
Mm-hmm.
it more like a vacation, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And then maybe you could, the kickball games and stuff that people, not that are
Yeah,
with disc golf, but you could do some more stuff that, like creative stuff that, you really can't do
yeah.
before the season because you're
Dodgeball
scared of,
games.
yeah, scared of getting hurt. Yeah.
No, that's a good point. I love that. So that's essentially what I've got for this season, but I do want to run a couple of quick hitters by you. These are just questions that I think are especially relevant to you, or I'm curious your take on them. Doesn't have to be crazy, but number one, Go-to order at the barbecue restaurant. A, where's your favorite? And B, what are you ordering?
Um, well, I got like 3. Well, I gotta go
Okay.
4. So I really like. Man, this is a trick one because I get hell for it every time I say it. But I really like Gates. But I like going inside Gates and eating. But I really
Mm-hmm.
like Joe's or Oklahoma Joe's. But I
Yep.
like getting Joe's to go because it's kind of like it's kind of hectic to eat in there, and it's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I like those 2. I also ate at a place in Austin last year called Salt Lick. It was so damn
Oh,
good.
yeah.
I was mad at Barsby for not ever telling me about this place. I'm like, dude, why have you never mentioned this place to me, dude? Like all this time. So that one is like, I mean, dude, they had this char on it. It was like almost burnt, but it had all the flavor at the Salt Lick. I ain't never
Oh,
had nothing like it. It is like almost patent so good. But
damn.
and then Dreamland Barbecue in Mobile because well, in Tuscaloosa is where it's originated. But I ate the one in Mobile because I'm from here. But I like that one too. That sauce is the best in the world. B minus barbecue, kind of similar to Gates. I would give them both B
Yeah,
minus
Gates is
on
that
their
way too.
barbecue,
Yeah.
but their sauce is A plus. And but I really like a full range. I like the burn ins. I found out about a lot because
Mm-hmm.
Texas and like Missouri and Kansas City, they just don't let most of them burn ins come our way. They hog
Yep.
them. So I
Yep.
really like burn ins, brisket. I like it all. I like honestly, I could usually the combo plate. I always ask. I
Yep.
want my potato salad with yellow. I don't want no white potato salad. I don't know. Yeah, it's got to be yellow,
Okay.
and probably some baked beans. And I usually like putting the sauce in the baked beans. That's kind of like my
Oh,
go-to order, like a combo and
okay.
something in
Yeah,
that
3 meat
that range.
platter, potato salad, beans.
Yep, yellow potato salad.
Yellow potato salad. All right, noted.
Got to be yellow.
Quick hit, quick hitter number 2. Long drive from Florida to Waco. What's gonna be on the playlist? What's the go-to right now?
I kind of play wherever I go, kind of like music. So like if I'm in Florida, I'm probably gonna put on some like Tom Petty or something, or like some
Mm-hmm.
old yacht rock. And then once I kind of go where I go. Once I get into Louisiana, that Juvie's coming on and that Wayne's coming on and all that. And then when I get into Texas, UGK probably starts on, and then that Pantera Dimebag's coming on. So it just kind of ranges where I go. But I'll definitely be stopping by Billy's Boudin, my favorite, on the way. It's in Scott,
Oh,
Louisiana. I won't. It ruined Boudin for me because it's so good there. I won't eat it nowhere else. It's that good.
really?
Uh, Truth, the truth.
I got introduced to the boudin when I came down there for doing the Wiggins project, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a cultural experience. It's good. Um,
Oh, that's the boom.
you're a Lakers fan. Thoughts on the Luka trade? Hit me.
I think Jerry West would have been proud, man. I mean, for real though. I mean, I think it needed to happen. I felt like we were just kind of set there in a place where we weren't really going to go up,
Yep.
and then just bringing the hype with Luka change. It kind of feels like it keeps us going for the next after the
Yeah.
LeBron thing. I mean, I think there's so much positives for it. I know it seemed a little weird when it happened, but I was way full for it though, and it's what we needed. It's what needed to happen, and I mean, we're back in the game, baby. Let's go.
You got your Luka jersey yet? How we doing?
Man, I ain't got no Luka jersey yet, man. But I'll work on it. I'll work on it though.
All right. Well, next interview we do, I need to see that you and a Luka. And then last thing I kind of wanted to get with you is like a legacy question to a degree. I'm looking up the career earners, and you're in the top 10, right? You know, we don't know you as. I'm looking at all the other players. There's a lot of like historic winners, like winning all over the place. You're in there. You're ahead of a lot of players who have won big time events. Like, how does that sit with you? Top 10 earner career, and still building. Like, when you think back on your career, what does that mean to you?
Definitely was surprising. It was good. Like I was surprised and kind of like, dang. And somebody was like, "Oh, big money, Matt," and I was like, "Well, you got to divide that by 21 too." You know what I mean? So it looks good, but I haven't done that math yet because I'm kind of scared to average it in.
Uh
But
huh.
no, it felt great. It felt awesome. I couldn't believe it, honestly. especially because I played so many Southern National tournaments that aren't
Yeah.
PDGA that I played,
Yep.
and that money hasn't even been accounted for. That I was kind of surprised by it, but but it's. I was kind of a little proud of it. I would say because I saw the names on there too. And I was like, wow. And then I was kind of like, man, I'm not too far from Dave Felberg, and kind of looking at
Yeah.
who I could beat a little bit, a little bit. And I'm like, whoa, So it was definitely, it shows the growth of the game too, because I guarantee you,
Yeah.
4 years ago I was probably on the 20th, below 20 maybe at that point. So the growth of the game has been big on that too, which has been awesome.
Yeah, no question. Well, Matty, I'm really looking forward to seeing you do your best to climb up that career earners list this season. That's about all I have for this interview. I wanted to give you a chance, though. Anything you want to hype up? Any signature releases coming out? Any ways that people can support you right now?
Go to Westside Disc. We got a bunch of new, really sweet premium quality discs because we just got the new website. So check out the new Westside Disc website and go on there, and I'll let you just go free roam and see what you can find. But I'm expecting maybe an Orbit print soon, which I'm really excited about from a
Ooh.
release. Yes, so have like a true premium prints, which I'm really excited
Hmm.
about. And also just go to OTB for the jerseys. Truly unique. Dr. Christie dies. Everybody at Westside and all my fans that make me love to play the game and shout and cheer my name when I'm out there.
Well, Matty, you have plenty of fans out there. You're one of the most likable people on tour. Thank you so much for your time. Really, I appreciate it. That is going to be all I have for this interview. If you at home would like to see more of these interviews, some round coverage, and a whole host of other disc golf content, please make sure to subscribe to the new home of my interviews and most of my content going forward, Central Coast Disc Golf.